welcome back. We have bonus coverage of the Farm Progress Show in Boone, Iowa. It's day number 2. It got off to a rainy start, 4 inches of rain overnight. But really, the exhibit field's in good shape. They delayed the opening of the gates for a couple of hours, but a big crowd has turned out again. The sun's shining now, and looks like it'll be another good day today. We'll wait and see about tomorrow. There's a chance of more rain coming in tonight. But right now, everything's pretty good, except couldn't do the field demonstrations they'd hoped because of the 4 inches of rain, but they did get a full day of those in yesterday. All right, we have a couple of officers with the National Corn Growers Association with us. Bart Schott is the first vice president, and Gary Niemeyer, who will soon become the first vice president as they move their way up through the ranks of the National Corn Growers. Bart, I'll start with you. Good to see you again. A lot of issues around ethanol. Again, the challenges remain. You're still pushing, of course, to get EPA to approve up to 15% ethanol in our fuel supply, but the critics and the naysayers have come out in force, haven't they, to try to delay that?
You know, it seems like the closer we get, the more of that we get, and I think we're getting to the tail end of EPA ruling on the E15 waiver, and of course, in the meantime, you know, we've asked Lisa Jackson to give us E12 just to cover the period, you know, from now until they do accept the waiver of E15.
So we're still waiting on that. Gary Niemeyer, I mean, we've had the proof, we've had the research, we've had the studies showing that, you know, this is a good move to go to E12 then to E15. It just seems like we're constantly battling on that.
There's always something that gets in the way. You know, E12 is a subsim, a very substitute that could be very similar quality to E10, and there's no reason why we can't get it on the market. It's just a lot of Washington, D.C. slowdown process.
And, you know, we keep waiting because we are up to that blend wall. Either we are or we're very, very close to it. I mean, if we're looking at the viability of the ethanol industry moving forward, and not just for fuel, but also for jobs and the economic activity that we need in this country, we need this decision.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, you think about the jobs involved, and where are they? You know, they're not in the big cities, they're in rural America, and to keep rural America economy healthy, we need that industry to not only stay, grow, but flourish in the future.
Let's also talk about, you know, already discussions underway concerning the next farm bill. And I know the corn growers are very involved in those.
Yeah, and that's kind of taken me by surprise a little bit. I thought this would be under the 2012 presidency, and after going to Chairman Peterson's meetings, I'm finding out I'm going to deal with that as president of NCGA. And so this was kind of a curveball thrown at us, but we've got good staff, good people. We'll be able to take that head on as well.
Bart's going to be the president here in the coming year, and that very much will be the formation and how that farm bill comes together will be interesting. We know these are always, you know, drawn out affairs, a lot of people coming to the table, a lot of changes will be proposed. The bottom line is, can we maintain that safety net for farmers?
You know, and that's the thing that we're kind of looking at. We've got a great farm bill now. Do we have to give something up? Do we have to trade something? Those are the issues that Colin Peterson's working on now, and with the budget cuts in D.C. now and this anti-debt mode that's going on, we need to be aware of what's happening. And Colin Peterson talks about direct payments maybe being an issue, maybe going to whole farm insurance, just some avenue to keep as much as we can in the current farm bill and move forward.
A lot of things on the table. And Gary Niemeyer, one other thing back to ethanol, huge concern. The tax incentives that will expire at the end of this year, very important to the ethanol industry. Will they be reinstated? If so, at what level? I talked earlier this week with Senator Chambliss, and he kind of made it sound like, hey, we don't know, what's going to happen there. So we don't want to see what has happened to biodiesel happen to the ethanol industry.
Well, you're absolutely right, Mike. This is a very fluid situation in Washington, D.C. I mean, even today we heard of maybe some bills coming forward. But the point is, there's 117,000 jobs that are in ethanol that could be lost if we do not pass VTEC by the end of the year. This Congress has talked all about jobs. I just can't imagine they wouldn't allow us to continue to grow a market that is good for the economy. It is a renewable product. It's with less dependence on foreign oil, and we're creating jobs right here at home. Plus, it's relatively very well evenly priced. You know, ethanol is probably about $1.81 a gallon right now compared to gasoline.
Yeah, that's something that doesn't get told nearly enough. And Bart, you know, this could go a lot of different ways. The tax credits could expire altogether, as we've seen with biodiesel. They could be reinstated at a lower level or kept at the same level. So really, we don't know. Does corn growers have a preference? I mean, I would think obviously you'd want to keep what we have now, but I mean, do you see where there could be some is better than none?
Well, our current policy at NCGA is to extend it as long as we can for the most money, and this summer we kind of handed the ball over to Congressman Pomeroy and Shimkus when they went into the House with this idea that we would take whatever they could get for us. And of course, Congressman Pomeroy got through the House Ways and Means Committee, got a year extension at 36 cents a gallon. Is that what we wanted? We want a little bit more, and we're thinking that on the Senate side, when they come back, that Grassley and Conrad can add to that and maybe make it a multi-year extension, which would be better for us. But, you know, we gave those guys the challenge to get what they could, and if the year extension is what we get, we're going to be behind them 100%.
Any other key issues that you would say are priorities for corn growers in this coming year?
You know, the Cuban trade bill is one that we've kind of jumped on board with. I had a chance of testifying at the House Ag Committee, and it went through that committee really well. Had legs under it, and now it's kind of stalling, and we want to see that trade bill go. One thing I'd like to say is that Cuba is the 10th largest customer for corn here, and you know, this one-way trade, it's really an embargo to the U.S. farmers when you think of it like that. And, you know, let's be real, this has been a policy that we've had with Cuba for years. It's outdated. This idea of paying cash and going through a third party is just way out of date. You know, let's bring this thing up to speed. They're our neighbors. They're 90 miles away. You know, let's treat them like neighbors.
Instead of making them jump through hoops, we don't ask anybody else to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We send a shipload of corn over there, and they come back empty. You know, it's just not right, Mike.
Bart, thanks a lot. And Gary, thank you. Gary Niemeyer from Central Illinois. I was in your neighborhood this past weekend. There was some harvesting going on.
Well, we're going to start today. Of course, it rained again a little bit this morning, and the moisture is coming in. Have been 15 to about 22, so it's getting that time. But I got to tell you, Mike, this 4.5 inches of rain was kind of like deja vu to me, and I sure hope it doesn't happen again this fall.
Optimistic about some good yields?
I think we're going to be less than last year, but we're going to have a supply of corn that's going to feed and fuel the world.
And Bart, about your area, tell us about your area.
You know, we came off, I grew a spring wheat, corn and soybeans on the farm. And
in where at?
In Cullum, North Dakota. And our spring wheat crop was the best I've had in my farming career. And I was talking to the agronomist driving down here. I drove down to Boone, Iowa, which, by the way, was a 527-mile ride.
It's a long ways to anywhere from North Dakota, I think, right?
Well, we kind of like driving. Yeah, we get used to that. But he was telling me that we're one rain away from finishing off the best corn crop that I've ever had. So we've got things really clicking up there. We've had good weather. I've had the heat units to finish this corn crop off. So I'm not ready to start combining, but we will be in about a month.
They have heat units in North Dakota, right?
We have heat units. We count them a little bit different than down in southern Illinois, but we call them heat units.
Right. Bart Schott, first vice president from North Dakota with the National Corn Growers. Gary Niemeyer from Central Illinois, a board member who will soon move up to first vice president as Bart moves on up into the presidency. Gentlemen, thank you both. Look forward to working with you this coming year. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Mike. And we really appreciate the message that you portray about ag. And we need this message to stay true and on focus. So we appreciate you a lot.
Thank you very much, Mike, as always.
Worked with Gary for many, many years in the state of Illinois. And Bart, always enjoy working with you. Appreciate it very much. All right. It's AgriTalk OnLine, bonus coverage of the Farm Progress Show here in Boone, Iowa. Day number 2. We'll take a break. Back with more. Stay with us for AgriTalk OnLine.